Hi, hello, good morning. This is just a quick video that I am doing. In front of me, I have got a bureau or a writing desk. Now, you can get different types of these products. Now, the one I've got has only got two drawers to it. And at the moment, what I am doing, I've been doing this now for over a year, because I only do it as and when. It's not like I've got a time frame that I'm trying to complete this item in. But what I'm doing is I'm actually sanding back the dark wood. So this is the original colour of the writing desk. And these are, I believe, are the original handles. So there are 4 of those. And there are 2 locks which should, in theory, take the same key. Now, the reason I am sanding this back is because every time people watch programs on TV lately, you know, like programs like Money for Nothing, etc., or DIY or upcycling, reduce, reuse, recycle, upcycling products. You see a lot of these similar type bureaus or this type of bureau or writing desk on these programs. And it's because, although personally I like the dark staining on the product, a lot of people don't, and it doesn't go with a lot of modern houses. Now, this item is heavy, it is bulky, it doesn't actually take up a lot of space, which is really, really good because, again, if you're going to be in a modern property, they're literally built like rabbit hutches. So any furniture that a lot of people tend to purchase for modern day living is flat pack. I mean, if we look over here, this is an industrial, cheap and nasty, flat-packed unit. You know, places like IKEA, which unfortunately the nearest one for me used to be Coventry, but now it's closed, used to be perfect. You would walk in there and straight away there would be examples of how much it would cost to fit out a studio, how much would it cost to fit out a flat, how much would it cost to fit out a living room. And a lot of the things that they were showing you in these properties were things like built-in wardrobes, built-in cupboard units, beds that, you know, you pull down and they lift up and they are hidden out of plain sight so that they're only visible when they are needed to be used. And again, what's happening with society because of overpopulation of the human race is what you are finding is living accommodation is actually getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And there are places such as like in Asia where you literally open up a bit like a cat flap and you step up, you roll yourself in, so the bed itself is on rollers, which are padded softly. If anyone has ever seen the movie Fifth Element, that gives you an example of what I'm talking about. And you roll yourself in there, you use that space to sleep, and then in the morning you roll yourself out again and you go to work. And there has been so many different changes on the way that products like furniture, etc., have been reinvented basically for space saving. As opposed to if you were to watch something like The Girl with a Pearl Earring, the movie that is a film adaptation of the book The Girl with a Pearl Earring by Tracy Chevalier, in places like Holland, where it is set, entertaining would have been done, for example, in the master bedroom, and the bed would be in a corner and they would have a table, and the way that society integrated with one another, it was a lot more social with the higher classes and even with the poorer classes. You know, tables and having a table in your property was something people had. Nowadays, people rarely use tables to eat at. People are always on the go. We are very fast pacing as a society, as a species, and everything is disposable. Everything is just use it once, throw it away, and then we all worry as to why the world is becoming overpopulated with microplastics, which are now literally found in everything. So what a lot of people now have started to do, if they have the space or if they're homeowners, have started to do is buy original, very sturdy, very solid, very well-made furniture. And even if you don't know where to find one of these, I guarantee you walk into any charity shop on the high street, or if you went on eBay or Amazon or Etsy or Shopify, any social platform, I guarantee you there will be 1, maybe 10 of these for sale. And a lot of them, what will happen is they will either be sanded back or people will use chalk paint, which is a bit of a pet hate for me. I've tried it. I'm not a fan of it. I'm not saying it isn't good. It's just, it's not a product for myself. And it's not as easy as people make it out to be. So if you are going to use chalk paint, do your research, just like with anything. And again, it's the dark wood. So a lot of these have been upcycled into what people would call chintz. So they've given it like that shabby chic, chintzy effect. Now this one itself, unfortunately, it does not have a support system under here. So when the drawer came down to reveal the desk itself, so this part is actually the desk. So it's the lid, but it's also the desk. But on some of these, what you get is little planks of wood that pull out, and they're like a support system. So when you put this down, it supports the weight of the desk and the desktop. Because this one doesn't have that, what's actually happened is the hinges, and again, this is what I love about old furniture, is the attention to detail. They're actually quite well hidden, but they've actually broken. So this is why it's locked at the moment, and it's because this hinge, unfortunately, over here is broke. So it does need replacing. And what I'm hoping to do with this, as once I've sanded it all back, is I'm going to put a handle on here. Not the same as these. I don't know whether I could find these. I probably could, because again, the great thing about technology is I could take a photograph of this and put it on Google image search, and I may find another one. But I am upcycling this for a friend who is wanting a desk at their house for their AKA office man cave. So to chintz it and tart it up is absolutely pointless. So I am literally just going to sand this back. Yes, I could use a Dremel. I could use an electric sander. But the problem with that is my worry of doing that by using a heavy duty or even a light duty sanding machine is that I could be a little bit over enthusiastic. And what I don't want to lose is this beveled edge, which is all the way around here. And again, it just shows the attention to detail as to how much effort would have gone in to actually making this product. And so again, because if I was sanding this with an electric sander, I may be a little bit too enthusiastic. And what I don't want to lose is that beveled edging. What I'm hoping to do is to put a handle on this, like to pull it down. But because there is where the key goes, I would have to drill into here. And I'm not 100% sure as to how thick that is. And what I don't want to do is to crack the wood. I don't want it to split. So the other option would be to I would go in with a smaller drill bit first and then make the hole bigger as I go along. Or I could use like a metal plate, anything really to kind of secure it and make it more sturdy. So that would be the last thing I would do. So personally, I mean, I don't mind that it looks a little bit distressed. And, you know, you see you've got like the light and the dark where I've sanded. So it's not all one colour. But you can see where like the grain is slowly coming through the woodwork. But what I'm trying to do is obviously get rid of any of the stains or any of the like little imperfections, like the scratches in the woodwork on the drawers. And that's basically due to general wear and tear. Now, I will talk about dovetail, the way that drawers are basically put together. They don't use hammers and nails. They use like a dovetail, a bit like a jigsaw piece when you slot a jigsaw together. So again, you can see this one has got its original lock on there. And internally, I'm going to look at lining it, but having it so that the lining can be removed, so to make it easier to clean and to maintain. But just by putting in like a little lining, most likely felt, it will help to protect the wood from scrapes and scratches once it has been varnished back, just waxed with like a wood wax, just basically to seal the wood, buff it up a little bit, give it that bit like a new coat and a new fresh smell feel to it. But what people forget is with wood, it is a living organism, even when it has been cut down from whatever tree they've used, and it does breathe. It is porous. So again, if not treated with like a protective layer, and then if you were to spill something on it, it would soak into the grain, and because it's porous, and it can be subjected to things like damp and dry rot. So again, just by giving it that little bit of coat of wax will help to protect the wood and give it a longer life. Now, above this unit is an old wooden tool chest that I have already put on some new handles. And above that is another smaller one, and above that is another smaller one. And yes, that is not a naked lady, but it's, I forget who the artist is, but it's a writing set. And then here we have another tool chest, and you can see that what I've done to prevent it from scratching the surface of anything it's placed on, I have already put a felt like bottom on this chest. What I haven't done with this one yet is put on any handles like I have done here. Now, again, it's a personal choice. Some people have said to me, it looks ugly, we want you to completely varnish it back, and not have like the dark wood with the handles. But I think it gives it kind of a little bit like a Moroccan feel, because of the I would call them like bit like mandalas, and the colours are quite warm. They're quite a rich, like oranges with a little bit of blue in there and a little bit of red. And personally, I like the distressed look. Yes, I will wax this. So when I wax it, the colour may vary slightly. But because of the age of the wood and the age of the product, what I don't want to do is like wax it completely. I may just run a fine grain sandpaper over it. And again, I have got videos online somewhere as to what I've done with this box. And again, some people have said they like it. They like the industrial feel, because at the end of the day, that is what it was originally. Both of these, when I purchased them, were full of tool bits. So these were men chests, and all I've done is tried to make them more universal, more non-binary, not unisex, and, you know, tried to keep them what they are. They are, at the end of the day, they are chests. When I first brought them into the house, they were really dirty, really dusty. My hands were literally covered in like just general grime. And by the looks of the bases on these, which I will have to treat, there is no woodworm, there is no dry rot, which is brilliant. They've obviously were kept outside or in an area that, because they were literally like full of cobwebs and spiders, but no wood lice and no silverfish. So I know that the wood and the boxes themselves have been in a dry and, but a workable area. So again, I am painstakingly and slowly doing things with these, but I do want to keep the feel of the fact that, it is an old box, and all I've done is try to make it more practical and more usable in today's society. And the way that I've done that is by adding the handles, or the knobs, if you want to call them that, because originally there wasn't any. And the same with this one. And believe it or not, as silly as it sounds, it has been a real challenge to try and find the right ones to put on the boxes. With these ones, if I just quickly take it out, you can see that I've been using it for all sorts. I haven't actually cut them yet. So this is the actual length of the knob that I've used. So now I know that it fits, and I'm happy that it fits. What I will do is I will use a hacksaw to make this smaller, but what I didn't want to do was cut them until I was happy with the length. So on some of the knobs that you buy, they are really, really good because they will have the added length, which you may need depending on the thickness of the wood or the drawer or the cupboard or the unit that you are putting them onto. But some of them might be smaller, and what you'll find then is, unfortunately, you can't use them because the wood is too thick. And then it just slides back in. So there is a lot to think about when you are reducing, reusing and upcycling anything, whether it's for yourself or a loved one or to resell in the future. And what I want to point out is everything that you see here, everything I have talked about today, is secondhand. I have not, so all I've done is brought these either from a charity shop or from an auction. Even the knobs themselves, I brought them off eBay. They were a job lot on eBay. I couldn't find a key because this didn't come with a key. If you go online, there are people that actually do sell vintage keys. So again, for, I think it cost me like £10, I got like 100 vintage keys for a tenner. And yes, it was annoying. I had to try every single one to see whether they would fit this lock to undo it. And I actually found one that did. So, it's not always the case of going out there and buying brand new. I'm a very avid supporter in reduce, reuse, recycle, and then upcycling. So I hope you found this useful. And if there's anything you want me to talk about further or to put online in more detail, please don't hesitate to make a comment below. Thank you.